And we're live. So here we go. Just to kind of give you guys a little bit of an overview. This is kind of an unhinged, unscripted little video on cones.
Yay, the glory of aim assist.
So this is just standard run-of-the-mill 50 zoom, 53 aim assist, standard high impact. Frozen orbits 50, 53. Most of your high impacts run that way. We're doing this on
Yeah,
Bannerfall because this is the more longer of the sight lanes. The longest sight lane recorded is 150 meters on Midtown, but that's even a stretch.
more than 150.
More,
Yeah, we did some heavy ammo things. I think it's 173.
173, okay. I'll
Yeah,
make that noted.
but that's being in the tree and at the very end with a stasis nade, so,
Yep, that's just improbable at that point.
yeah.
Do me a solid. You're gonna do we're gonna do the neck test, and then we're gonna do the animation test real quick.
Okay.
And we're gonna
Next,
actually, yeah, and that way, yeah, just go to the tree stump,
I'll
same old, same
try
old.
to replicate the other thing as well.
We can, but I mainly just want to talk about netcode for those. Um, so the first thing I want to
Okay.
demonstrate is bungee hitboxes. There's a lot of terminology thrown around that says, oh, bungee hitboxes are BS.
I mean, they kind of
I
are,
mean,
but
yes and no. It depends on zoom scaler and range
yeah.
scaler. And this is one
But
of those
if
instances where it's here. I'll zoom back.
yeah.
And so if I zoom back here, so and this will come in a future quote unquote lecture. So that reticle is a representation of the cone angle. It's not the true cone, it's a representation. Much like going back to my last word video, this is kind of a representation of the cone. You have the two outer points, but in the inside, so you have the reticle, the two outer points, and then the two sight guards. So in between those 2 points represents the actual cone. But for a sniper, it's a little bit different. So, jokingly, it wouldn't be the giant circle and the dot in the center, or anything within that circle makes sense. No, that'd be absurd. But actually, it's kind of the inverse. So if you look at the center of Farewell here, there's a little dot in the center. Now, that little dot is the same thing as that little dot right there, but the difference is that the A zoom scaler, B range value, and C actual cone angle on the sidearm compared to the sniper. Oh my god, chase up. So when you're looking at a sniper, what determines the actual cone angle is the red dot itself. What are you? Go back over there. So when we're looking at this, for example, if let's say I get up close, I'm gonna do the neck test real quick. Is that okay? Or is not Archie?
Wait. Give me a second. I gotta get the proper email on
So the
with.
neck test just shows where hitboxes are and what counts as a head and what doesn't count as a head under the
Wait for me
certain
to stop there.
zoom qualifications. So we know frozen orbit's 1.116 zoom. I mean, aim cone angle. I'm gonna aim right at your neck. I'm on the side. You can even double check me if you can't. Actually, you can't because I don't mess your screen.
No.
You trust me though?
Yeah, I trust that you're staring at my right jugular.
There you go. That it does not constitute as a headshot because the hitbox for the head is right there. So now we have a more clear-cut definition of where the head sits. But as you go farther back, the neck is no longer clearly defined. And the cone is going to be touching a mix between the neck and the head. So, as we covered in the last word video, we've discussed that if the cone is touching the head, it will register as a head. So I'm gonna go on the opposite side now. And if you look in the video prior, or like a few seconds ago, you can see that I was slightly touching the head. But I'm right here, and this should register as a headshot.
Don't aim for my head on that side because you might hit my hand.
Okay, I'm just gonna move a little bit over. I'm not
There
gonna
you
hit,
go.
I promise. Alright. You ready?
Yep.
So, the reason why that registers as a head is because that cone angle is touching the head. I'm not a netcode specialist. Actually, would technically qualify more for that than I would.
I don't even qualify that much, although I do know a bit about networking.
So
It's not my profession, but I do know a bit.
But what Iz and I were discussing earlier, and Iz, feel free to jump in any time.
there's this thing known as favor the shooter. Overwatch players, you know this term. It came from Overwatch because Overwatch and D2 were in development at the same time, and originally Destiny 2 was on Battle.net,
It was
and
help designed by
Blizzard. Yeah, so their netcode is very similar. So, favor the shooter. Pidge, if you would.
Yep. All right. Am I timing at the start or the finish? Because those are two very different timestamps.
Uh, do it while I'm landing.
Okay,
Well,
so-
actually, no, at the start, because that's how we replicated the...
All right. So I have to aim. I'm gonna aim at your head. You're gonna have to be doing that little jump thing. I try to
Yeah.
time it for the jump.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
That's
It worked! That was the same thing!
that was the exact same. You literally you jumped, and also I have the other one on recording. So
So, what if you don't have a frame perfect eye? What happened there was I got hit by a body shot on my screen, and then miraculously died.
So what happens there? So there's two ways this happens. I'm gonna scoop out first. Actually, just do the animation. I'm gonna explain it. So as he jumps, I timed my shot with his jump, but so he jumps into my shot, I fire, but the game registers as a body. But then since the shot
Because
technically,
it actually hits my chest, because it skims the top, and then I jokingly say it hits my collarbone, and then domes me in the
do it one
fucking
more
skull.
time. One more
Okay.
time.
1, 2, 3. We got that down to a science.
So
It hits my chest, and then it basically, I jokingly say, it ricochets off my chest
See,
and hits my skull.
this is the one thing I will openly slightly disagree with you. By the way, this is a healthy disagreement. Is because the animation. So when you
The
jump,
animation to you,
yeah, on my
looks
end, looks like you're well. I mean, yeah, do the animation and I'll walk you through my thought process.
3, 2, 1.
So you jump up, and as you're jumping, I fire. So when you jump, and one more time,
3,
as
2.
you jump, I fire. But as you're jumping, your head moves up into the reticle space. So as your body moves up into the cone, and I fire, from my angle, I hit your head, especially.
You're thinking in the realm of cones. I'm thinking in the realm of player models moving. So the
One more time for me.
the bullet line, 3, 2, 1.
Boom. Yeah. So from player model, technically that should register body because if I'm timing it right, I'm
You're
gonna
hitting the very tip of my chest plate.
do it
And
one, yeah, do it one more time. I'm gonna aim a little bit lower.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
So that's weird. That is.
In the terms of player models, you are hitting this like tip of my chest plate. It ricochets off, goes into my jaw, and goes through my brain. That's the kind of
That makes sense though in real life though. That would happen if you are doing a jump like that. It would.
yeah. But why the fuck would you do it when you have hard armor on?
One more. Yeah, just keep doing it. I'm trying to see if I can get it right. So one, like you jump, but
Yeah, but I didn't get the body shot pause. That was just pure headshot.
Okay.
I can tell when you
I mean the body, yeah. See but that's
Yeah.
weird because like I said, on my end, when you jump, it looks like you're jumping into it, and I'm hitting you through that perspective. I do see the body shot damage, by the way. I'm not saying that. I don't disagree that it's not registering body to crit, but I'm confusing on. The only thing I'm wishy-washy on is whether it's a cone. It could be both cone and netcode.
It's netcode because
One more time.
so 3, 2,
Two.
1.
You crouch.
That was early.
Early. Okay, got it. Yep, sorry.
Yeah,
I'm probably premature. I'm trying to time it
because
right
you
then.
fired when I crouch. But we have enough.
Yeah, we have enough. Just, long story short, it does do the thing. It's also in the other video. But
But there's this thing called favor the shooter in Overwatch. If you play Overwatch, you love it or hate it because favor the shooter. Thank you for one shot killing me. Is very, very annoying
wait, that one.
for two reasons. One, it favors the person firing the bullet. And if they see that the bullet hits you, it hits you no matter where you are. Now, you might be wondering, what if there's a really high ping? If the person sees you and they see that they hit you, they hit you. So, even if you're 15 feet away from where they see you, you will die.
Well, that also was kind of the thing with fusions too, where favor the shooter would be a big factor because so there's a charge time with fusions, and this was back when I worked on like recreating the game engine ground up, where you would have, let's say you're charging your shot, and there's a preset parameter where, and this kind of goes down to netcode too, by the time the charge is fired, it has to register player positioning to say, okay, this is a hit or a miss. Is this a hit or a miss? And then to go passes through netcode to then say, yes, this is a hit. And let's say your player model, by the time the shots register all hits and it says yes, and you're like now in cover, it will register still. It's like
that's on Fire client side. Client side is the register hit or miss. Server side doesn't give a shit about on if the person's positioning has changed. If the fire says it's a hit, no matter where you are. So
yeah, that's kind of the problem with peer-to-peer, but that's a whole other conversation.
well, here's the thing. I think Overwatch also had dedicated servers, and they did that to mitigate ping systems.
Yeah, ping is just League of Legends. I average out on 42, which is generally...
it's because they it's to mitigate like high and low player population time points where they have to match it with certain ping things, well, certain high ping areas, or if they're really stupid, skill-based matchmaking is prioritized and ping be damned. Which was D2 year 1, which was, I remember that.
That was interesting time period.
Yeah, it wasn't fun.
But the whole synopsis of this is that there's netcode involved with some of the animation firings.
And if you're the person receiving the bullets, you're at a disadvantage inherently.
But that's only through animations. I wouldn't say that's inherent through everything. I'd say like if you're emoting...
No, even with ping, there's favor the shooter. So we're close to each other.
Oh yeah,
but
that's
say if there's a decent amount of ping,
like
if you see me here, but
yeah.
I'm really here, I will still get killed.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like even let's say if you're... And there's also like Peeker's Advantage, which, you know, that's also netcode.
Well, yeah, that's also favor the shooter.
Shooter, in a nutshell. It's hard not to have favor the shooter, though.
I mean, you could just have dedicated servers and have the server decide what's a hit or a miss based on the accurate positions on server side. Like this, like if you have dedicated servers, you're the host, right?
Yeah, I'm host.
So your machine is currently simulating all this jazz.
Yeah.
And my machine is connected to your machine. This is why peer-to-peer is kind of unsafe as well, because it's easier access to one's IP address.
Yeah, but IP address isn't that.
For DDoSing, it's very important.
Yeah, I mean, but
there's good DDoS protection scheme and shit, but peer-to-peer is just generally.
There's people saying you can get your address from for IP, and that's just not the case. But for DDoSing, yes, it is important.
Yeah.
Bye. The fact that one track is stupid. But that's the point.
So you're basically simulating this map, like you're the primary person.
Mm-hmm.
So as host, you get a bit of an advantage there, but I'm also partially simulating this map. The game basically at times takes the average of the two, but in the terms of when bullets are flying, bullets are basically based on the client side, which is your machine. If it registers a hit, it hits me. If my machine registers a hit on you, it hits you. Now, what's the bad thing about this is both of those hits could be unwarranted, based on our XYZ position on this simulated map. Now, dedicated servers, the map and the players are simulated out there, in the ether, where hits are registered based on where the server thinks you fired and where the server thinks you are. This inherently adds a bit more ping, because you're connecting to the server to another player, basically. Or you're both connected to a central server. So, at that time, it's dependent on how much ping you have to that central server, and how much ping that person has to the central server, and that determines whether bullshit happens. Peer-to-peer, it's your ping to each other. Dedicated, it's your ping to a central server. Sometimes that lessens ping, sometimes that adds ping. But it largely gets rid of this bullshit.
I just love how I'm just like, messing around trying to see if inaccuracy is a thing, and it is, but it isn't.
Yeah, I hit you with more pellets there, but my machine said no.
Yeah, welcome to netcode. Overall, the cone thing is mostly about, you know, neck shot, headshot, animation.
Hitboxes are actually good up close, but far away they become boxes.